win this game. I think they win this game because Philly doesn't need it. I look at it, I agree with your analysis that Dallas has to have it, Philly doesn't. I think if there's ever a time for Philly to be like, we essentially locked up the 1 seed last week. We're playing our backup quarterback. We're not going to play a real meaningful game in a month. We already beat these guys once. Like, just the motivational edge is going to be so skewed.
Them, though.
But I think Philly should crush
world's looking at.
No, Dallas, he's saying.
Dallas.
No, but I'm saying Philly should be motivated on the stage to step up and really drive it home. It's like, you know what? You can't beat us with Gardner Minshew. Never mind once we have Jalen Hurts back.
I agree with that.
To me, what's amazing is we're talking about Dak Prescott having an interception problem. And that, to me, is a little bit of Dallas where something continues to creep up where you think the problem's fixed, and then suddenly there's a new problem.
Right.
Defensively, they've been incredibly strong. They've struggled the last few weeks. Suddenly now Dak has an interception problem, and it's always sometimes it's a question of identity.
That's fair.
You know, do we want to throw the ball 50 times? Do we want to run? They don't have that quite figured out either.
That's fair. I also think the media thinks a hell of a lot more highly of Gardner Minshew than the league does, because Gardner Minshew was acquired for a conditional 6th-round pick 15 months ago, 18 months ago.
Who traded him?
Jacksonville traded him.
And what was the situation in Jacksonville last year? Was it like the model of functionality?
No, I understand that. I get that. But my point is, I would hope that before you trade a guy for a conditional 6th, if you know you're moving on from him because you want to give the reins over to the prince who was promised, again, we don't need the trumpeters at the moment, that you would at least survey the league and see if anyone wanted to give you a 4th for him or something better. Now, maybe they didn't. You know, I obviously am not privy to that, but I just think Gardner Minshew I think the media likes him, and he has a cool mustache, and he wears jorts, and he lived in a trailer, and all that's fun. But the league doesn't seem to have as high of an opinion of him as I think people on television do.
All right, Cowboys have the 6th best odds to win the Super Bowl. Coach, will you believe they're a real Super Bowl contender if they beat the Eagles?
No, and I don't know if they believe they're real Super Bowl contenders.
Really?
Well, when you saw Dak Prescott's comments about this game, he said, we have to prove to ourselves that we can beat a really good team. He just said that, and to me, when you know you're good, it's not about proving to yourselves that you can play. He said, in all 3 phases, we got to prove that we can beat a really good team. You know you're good, and you know that there's some things that you have to correct. It's not a question of can we. It's a question of when are we going to put it all together. And maybe it's a subtlety in the language that he used, but I didn't love that approach from him.
No, they can't do anything this weekend. I told you guys a month and a half ago, they are not going to the Super Bowl. And I stand by that. When you going to believe me on that?
Well, I just...
Now you're really driving it home.
So here's...
If they wipe out the Eagles, it's with Gardner Minshew.
No, but offensively, what if they blow them out?
What if they show they can move the ball in this Philly defense?
Now, you have to admit, I've always said their ceiling is as high as anyone's.
Okay.
Do I trust them, though, to play it? It means when they bring their A game, when they play their best.
So then they can make the Super Bowl.
But I don't think they can play their best, what would it be, 4 straight weeks or whatever.
So they can or can't make the Super Bowl?
They're not making.
They cannot make the Super Bowl.
They are not going to the Super Bowl.
But with that said, they are playing a team that you think stinks in round 1 in Tampa. And then let's talk about the NFC playoffs for a moment, because Minnesota's going to be there. They dog walked them 40-3. The Giants might be in there. They've played them twice. They've beaten them both times. Washington might be in there. They've played Washington once. They've beaten them.
Can't get
Detroit
there
might be in there. Okay, so let's talk about the teams.
Let's get to the two teams.
You think it's the Niners or the Eagles?
Right.
Okay, so the Niners were my preseason pick. I think they have the best roster. I think they have the best team. I also think that anyone that is guaranteeing that Brock Purdy isn't going to turn into a pumpkin in the postseason, I think that's absolutely on the board. He's a rookie. And then there's the Eagles, whose quarterback currently is injured and who have no playoff experience as a unit whatsoever, except for last year when they got crushed. Acting like if the Cowboys were in the AFC, and it's like, okay, yeah, they have this great A game, but they're going to have to go through Mahomes and Burrow and Herbert and Allen and those teams, then I would see it. But there's only 2 teams you can say are clearly ahead of them. the Niners and Eagles. And there's reasons to question both of them. They're playing one of them this weekend, and you're saying if they annihilate them, it means
Without
nothing
the
to you.
star
Yes, but what
quarterback.
if the star quarterback doesn't play defense? What if they score 40 on them? That won't show you they could do that in the postseason?
They are not getting.
If they hang 100 on him,
He's trying to
what
they're
is
not
the
going
threshold?
to the Super Bowl. I don't flop around like that. They're not.
Who is going to the Super Bowl? Have you told us?
Philly.
Philly?
Yeah.
Philly's
Wow.
your pick.
Yeah.
Okay.
We snuck that in.
Wow, I didn't
He did, and he locked it.
Yeah, lock it.
He pressured me. In the
Okay, Philly. We've got one team.
Philly.
We've got another one. Stay tuned.
Buffalo.
No. Yeah,
I've
you've been
said
saying
that.
Yeah, Buffalo.
Philly, Buffalo. Okay. Or if that's like his thing and we just never show him on Weird and Wonderful, or this is the first time he's ever done it. Either way, I liked it. More in this game later. Weird, Minnesota, Chicago State. Jamison battle with the pass that ends up being a shot and goes in. Get this, bro.
I like the way
Gophers
he
end
played
up
it off.
winning by 3. They needed that bucket.
Oh, that's a bad beat.
Great, Weird and Wonderful.
I like the way he played it off. Like, just jog
all
back
good.
down.
Good things
I'm
happen.
Sparsely a
Shooters
that
bounce.
game.
Wonderful. Jets, Jacksonville.
Nice.
Quincy Williams in full Grinch gear. You know what? If you show up in full Grinch gear, you got to perform. He did 10 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, coach. Did you approve of that on, one of your guys shows up in full Grinch gear? You okay
10
with that?
tackles? Yeah, I'm good.
10
with that.
tackles.
You
I
can
think
wear
the
whatever
fact
costume you want with 10 tackles.
that two of the best players on one of the best defenses are brothers, and they play D-line and linebackers, one of the coolest stories in the league. Him and Quinnen, I love that.
Weird.
Wilds didn't agree. That's
Well,
fine.
it's game time. Jets on the move.
Heartwarming
Well, that was fine. Till Jacksonville pulls off the old kick fumble on Garrett Wilson. For the record, I think this should be illegal, and it might be.
It's illegal if you do it intentionally.
Yeah.
Well, that was intentional.
Just an
That
accident.
was not intentional.
Sold it, but that was a roundhouse kick.
Okay. That was not
You can judge
intentional.
intent.
That was as fortunate as the block.
You can just run and kick the
block
ball
it.
out. Wonderful. Back to Wizards Jazz. Bradley Beal at the
Future
line,
Laker.
distracted by an out.
Looks like Tom Izzo yesterday.
Beal made the free throw, 30 points on the night, but the Jazz win, and that's Weird and Wonderful from the National Pastimes. We're back to one of my favorite stories. Stay with us for this. There's
This
a
is
new article from The Athletic where Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen have been named NFL Persons of the Year. And Nick, if I may, I'm going to read part of the article to you right here. Let me get my reading glasses.
Nice.
Here we go. Perfect. This season, they have fully entrenched themselves as the new gold standards, plural, of the quarterback position. Should they stay healthy, each has a chance to earn a place among the best to ever play the game. That's right, Super Bowl
Well
champion
said,
Patrick
Mike Jones.
Mahomes and guy that loses to the playoffs and Josh Allen right there.
All right.
Peers.
All right.
Are you happy with this?
This is going to be a real test of Brew's integrity here.
Wow.
Because Brew is on the
It
record.
turns on me
Brew
like
is
that.
on the
I'm sitting
record
here minding my
in a
own business.
publication far more esteemed than The Athletic. In Sports Illustrated, he said Mahomes the best player he's ever seen. That's what he
Best
said.
quarterback.
Best quarterback he's ever seen. Pardon me, I don't want to misquote you. That's not what we
I'm
do.
the first guy to say
His
that.
first guy.
That's
And that article there acts like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, tomato, tomato.
Yeah.
So, first of all, the only person who really should be angry about the award is Joe Burrow. Because if it's 2022 calendar year and we're giving it to a quarterback, Joe Burrow's the one who deserves it. Joe Burrow's numbers, of course, Joe Burrow's numbers are better than Josh Allen's this regular season. And in the postseason, he was better than both of them. Got to give the guy credit. He showed up in the Super Bowl. You're not going to give it to Matt Stafford, understandably, so it should be Burrow. But the idea that Mahomes and Allen live in the same stratosphere of historic NFL quarterbacking is a level of fake news that used to get you banned on Twitter. Can we show you their careers? I liked Brew's checkmark system yesterday, so I used it myself.
Nice.
Okay.
So they've played almost the exact same number of games, 77 to 74. Let's look. Mahomes has 11 more wins. He has 6,000 more yards. He has 53 more touchdown passes. Oh, there's one for Josh Allen, the interception. His passer rating's 13 points higher. He's also the only one with any hardware whatsoever, except I think Josh Allen got one of those Nickelodeon Slime Awards after one of the playoff games a couple years ago. Their coach, Patrick Mahomes, is the gold standard of quarterbacking in the league. And there is a good competition for who's the next best. Right
He's in it,
now,
right, though?
now, I would argue Joe Burrow is in pole position. And then Allen, and then Herbert / Hurts / Trevor. That's how I would rank them if it were a horse race. But Mahomes has lapped the field of all the other young quarterbacks. Not talking Brady and Rodgers and those guys.
Yep.
Lamar.
So
Lamar.